Hey, welcome. And Susday Chmipsua, as we say in Cambodia. And I'm glad that you're here with me tonight. We're going to be talking about Gen X and primary school. If we want to talk about junior high, middle school, or high school, we can. But what I do on this show is I read a chapter from the book that I'm writing. And this week's chapter is on education. And I limit that to primary school. Um, so then we chit chat, and then I will share a link. Anybody that would like to come up and join me um, on the panel, you're certainly welcome to. Or if you just want to chat and share your likewise experiences, um, we'll do that. And that was Cassie. Oh, goodness. So Lemoyne should be here soon. Chalet should be here soon. Hopefully, Andy. It's early for Andy. He's on the West Coast. And we'll see who joins us today. So meanwhile, we'll just get started reading. And I'm going to share my screen here. Wait a minute. I was trying to share this other one. Just a second. And took myself off, and it gives me this message going, oh, you'll whatchamacallit, the audio will be off. And I'm like, what? No. Let me try this one. No, we don't want that one. Okay. We need it. Okay, why am I like half the size there? This one? Aha! That's the one we want. Okay. And then I'll put this up here. All right. Welcome. So we will get started with chapter 3, all about school. And then please join me for discussion afterwards. I mean, it's only one chapter. It's not long. Martin Murphy Elementary School, home of the Cougars, was built in 1966. I started kindergarten in 1971, and Mr. Robinson was my teacher. I loved him. My favorite memory is the day we made butter. He filled an empty baby food jar with cream and put the lid on tight. Hey, Mumsy's here. You got up early enough. Mumsy in the house. Excellent. We're talking about primary school, elementary school. All the students sat in a circle on the floor, and we took turns shaking the jar. I don't know how many times it went around the circle, but eventually the cream began to harden and turned into butter. We were all so excited. It was like magic. First grade was more structured with Mrs. Hill. No more circles. We had desks lined up in straight rows, and recess out on the blacktop with all the other students. I guess nothing much happened beyond regular learning, but Mrs. Bevel in second grade, now she was special. Mrs. Bevel would bring her guitar and play popular folk songs. She would play the album Free to Be You and Me, and as we closed our eyes and listened, imagining the stories, she would play the album as we closed our eyes and listened. Later, after the TV special aired in 1974, the school played the 16-millimeter film that was produced. California was known as a progressive state, and the education system at this time was the role model for others across the country. Still to this day, I love these songs and the lessons they teach. Back to school shopping always included choosing a metal lunchbox with matching thermos in the design of your favorite cartoon or TV show. Stores also sold special lunch-size paper bags. Bringing lunch from home usually included a sandwich, peanut butter and jelly, tuna fish, bologna and cheese, a piece of fruit such as an apple or an orange, maybe some carrot sticks or celery with peanut butter, and a bag of chips. We would sometimes swap food with other kids to try something new. Sunny D was a popular drink to include if you didn't have a thermos. The thermos was used more for cold drinks like milk, juice, or Kool-Aid rather than a hot drink, but it could be used for soup. Cafeteria lunches never had a bad reputation. In fact, we would usually get real excited about pizza or sloppy joes. Our school not only offered hot lunches, but also a new breakfast program. Since my mom was single and had to get me off to school and rush to work, it saved her time by knowing I would have a hot meal and she could drop me off early. Little paper cartons of milk were served with pancakes and sausage or scrambled eggs. Around third grade is when one of the most humiliating experiences of my life happened. All the students had to take a standardized test by filling in bubbles on a card with a number 2 pencil for each multiple choice question. We were instructed not to let the smallest mark go outside the circle, and it must be completely filled in. These cards would later be read by a computer. It was very innovative at the time. The test was administered after recess. I didn't feel any need to go to the bathroom at that time, but in the middle of the test, I needed to pee really bad. I raised my hand and asked to use the restroom. The test administrator refused. I'm not sure how many times I asked, but the end result was that my bladder could no longer wait, and everyone could hear the dripping of my pee as it poured off the seat onto the floor. There was no sympathy, only condemnation from the adults and snickers from the children. Mom, make sure you tell me, like, if you knew that that happened, like if the school called you to change my clothes or something, if you remember that at all. Continuing on. Bathrooms were designed with a large single sink that had several taps. Dispensers on the wall had a lever on the bottom that when you pushed it up with your open palm, allowed a pink soap powder to fall into your hand. To dry your hands, there was a roll of coarse brown paper, similar to paper bags, that came out when you turned a crank on the side. Chalet is in the house. Chalet is in the house. Woohoo! Each year, we were given our textbooks and had to write our name inside on a list. You could see who had the book before you. While specially designed book covers were available, most of us preferred to cut up paper bags from the grocery store because, we could use pens or markers to decorate the covers with our own designs. While I have forgotten the name of my 4th grade teacher, the thing I remember about her is the way she taught us math. Our class was full of smart students, and we all learned the math lessons easily. She told us she was going to start teaching us math that was normally taught in college. She taught us how to do long division in our heads without having to list each step under the number. However, when I was in 5th grade, the teacher, who wasn't old but was either bald or had a military buzz cut, would require us to show our work, which seemed absolutely unnecessary to those of us who had advanced far past 5th grade math. I guess the other students were more apt to follow the rules, because I seem to remember I was the only one rebelling against what I considered a waste of my time. One good thing that happened in 5th grade was that we had the option to join a music class. I loved singing, and there was the additional bonus of getting away from the normal class for an hour, so I jumped at the chance. First, we had to learn how to play a plastic recorder and read music. When we reached the appropriate level of skill, we were asked to choose an instrument. I really liked the French horn, but since no one else had chosen it, in a rare example of not wanting to be the only one, I chose the trumpet. My mom took me to the music store where we rented a trumpet, and I proceeded to annoy my mother and our neighbors with my practicing. In those days, no one would dare complain, as it was just a normal part of living in an apartment. At some point in elementary school, the boys and girls were sent to separate rooms one afternoon, and the school nurse taught us about reproduction. For the girls, they also taught us about menstruation and gave us a discreet box that included pamphlets and menstrual pads that were worn with a type of girdle. It's a good thing I had the box because in 5th grade I started my period and needed to go shopping for a bra, which was extremely embarrassing. Yeah, Mom, I remember you were telling all your friends, ooh, we bought Miriam her first bra. And I'm like, Mom. I wasn't regular with my period, so I never knew when it would start. Maybe 1 month, maybe 3 months. This led to more embarrassing moments. If I started my period at school and was therefore a regular at the nurse's office to be sent home to change my pants. Another thing that happened was that my teacher was smart enough to realize I wasn't being challenged enough with the 5th grade curriculum. So I was chosen to be assessed for a new program called MGM, or Mentally Gifted Minors, run by Mensa. They gave me an IQ test, and I remember the part when they had asked me to say my first thought as they would read a word. They said spade, and I said, what you get done to your cat. Afterward, I thought, oh no, I'm going to fail. I should have said a shape on a deck of cards or a garden tool. However, in 6th grade, I did indeed join the MGM class. Mr. McPherson was one of the best teachers I ever had. Our desks were arranged in clusters instead of rows, and we did lots of projects. One long-term assignment was to choose stocks from the newspaper within our designated imaginary budget. Then we followed those stocks to watch their performance. Another project was homesteading. We made a big map with a grid on it representing land in the West. We got to choose our 40-acre homestead and what we would do with it. Since Little House on the Prairie was still a popular TV show, it was kind of like we were making our own Western town. And that's it. Next one's chapter 4. You have to wait until next week for style and shopping. In fact, I don't think I only have a few paragraphs. I gotta get busy and finish that one before next week, but that's good. I work good with deadlines. Okay, so that's it. So Chalet, would you like to come up on screen? And of course, it goes slow whenever I try to do anything. Let me stop sharing the screen. Dun, 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 dun. Hello. We're back. Don't worry. It's not StreamYard. It's not my Wi-Fi. It's the computer. So yeah. I will put the link in case anybody would like to come up. Mom, instead of having to type any stories about me in school. Sorry, you had to get your glasses. Yes, I had a really neat childhood. Yeah, I have no complaints. I mean, there were ups and downs, but yeah, I mean, overall, I probably had a better childhood than my kids. Although I did my best. Anyway, yeah, so if anyone wants to click on that link, what it does is it brings you over to the StreamYard, which you kind of saw when I was sharing the screen. You kind of see bits of it. And if you don't want to be seen, what you do is you come in with your camera and your microphone on, And then once you're inside and I see you, then you can turn your camera off, and you can tell me your stories, or you can just spend some time and type them. Um, Another fun thing that happened in elementary school, as you learned last week, I grew up in a small suburb called Milpitas, and there was only one high school at the time, and it was called Ayers High School. And my uncle John, who, as you know, only 7 years older than me, was like a big brother. He was in high school, and the some of the students decided to make an independent film, and so now it's like a classic B monster movie, and it was called The Milpitas Monster. Um, and they shot it all over the town, and so of course everybody just loves seeing the mayor or seeing you know landmarks, and they would dress up in the costume sometimes and go around town to be spotted, kind of like in a Bigfoot kind of way. You know me, you'd rather type. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chalet only wants to type too. Okay, well, get busy. Start typing. So, Mom, do you remember that test? Before I finish with the Milpitas Monster, uh, do you remember? I mean, did the school tell you that I had peed my pants during the test, or do you just not even remember anything about that? Because that was pretty traumatic for me as a child, happening. But anyway, so the Milpitas Monster, one night, um, the high school students went to the playground and the blacktop of the playground and painted um, big footprints in paint with paint, and so these footprints were going across the blacktop, and the Milpitas Monster had been there that night, and so the next day when we went to school and we saw that, everyone was, you might come up on camera at night, mostly on the weekend, like a vampire. Because it's morning for you, so it's too early for you to come on camera. Alrighty. Oh, my mom had her last year of high school at Samuel Air. I didn't realize that. I mean, I had to have known that. I mean, you had to have told me that before. Um, but I really didn't remember that. I thought you graduated over on the East Bay. Was it Burlingame or not Menlo Park? Um, yeah. Oh, yes, you remember the when I when when I peed my pants. You're not dressed and you're not ready. You're going to be watching Talon. I don't know Talon. Is it a new I guess it's a new TV show. But that's good. That's cool. That's cool. Just relax. Work your way into the day. Have a cup of coffee. Wake up slowly. No need to rush things. San Mateo. Knew there was an M in there. So was Bud's ice cream in San Mateo? How quickly you forget. I did. I forgot. What did I forget? Oh my gosh. Something about Talon. I forgot. I did not remember that was his name. No. So you're going to be babysitting. All right. Well, that's par for the course in your house. Oh, goodness. And yeah. Hi, Talon. Oh, is he there or is he not there yet? Did you say I'm going to be watching Talon? Oh, goodness. Well, I wonder what happened to Lemoyne. Lemoyne loves GenX. Hope he's okay. Okay. Bud's ice cream was in Redwood City. All right, got it. But Mom, just a note. It might be good to say something like Bud's was in Redwood City or whatever. instead of just like yes or no or whatever, because depending on how long it takes you to type, it the conversation might have moved on and I might not be able to put two and two together what you're answering about. But right now it's okay. I got it. But just future reference, like with Chalet. Okay. Last time you said hi. Yeah, I did say hi to him. I just didn't remember his name. Maybe the time change is why Lemoyne is not here. It's an hour earlier. Yeah, but he's been pretty good. I mean, actually, he's usually been in before you. Okay, mom. Yeah, that's great. Uh, I mean, do you want to? I mean, because we're talking about Gen X, but I always welcome multi generations to share. You could share comparisons. You know, if you'd like to say anything about a school experience that you had as a boomer, would be welcome. Yeah, that's why you've been late. Yeah, I know the time change. So lucky we don't have a time change here. But just when it just goes on and on and on. You don't look at a calendar, you don't even know what day it is, you know. Yeah, she raised Gen X. Thank you, mom, for raising Gen X. So you got your finger on the pulse. You know what's going on. Anything about school lunches? I described school lunches. Um, did anybody have any different experiences? Or it's hard because it's 6 a.m. here now, and you're usually still sleeping. Yeah, yeah, I know. I'm sorry, but I don't want to start at 10 p.m. Not gonna happen. Gen X made us. Yeah, for good or for bad, they made us. That's for sure. And I think, like in my mom's case, being a single mom and working, she had a lot of faith in my grandparents. We lived with them, and then she got her own apartment, or we got an apartment, but it was just down the road from my grandparents. So while I was young, I mean, when in the younger grades, um, I would walk home to my grandparents' house after school, and I had been living there, so it wasn't a big stretch for me to just go home there. And then when my mom got off work, she'd come pick me up, and we'd go back to the apartment. Um, so she had a lot of support in that way, and so I wasn't really a latchkey kid in the earlier years. It was the later elementary years, where I had a key, and mom, okay, you never put it on my neck, but I know I did. Your greatest worked in the school kitchen, like my grandma. Yeah, my my mom's mom, my grandma, who I call Gurmy, who you guys have saw some pictures last week when I was showing the travel vlog of California. I showed some pictures of my grandma. Um, yeah, she worked in the school kitchen, and then later she worked like in a community center kitchen. Uh, so boomers after your parents' divorce. Wait, let me scroll back up. Oh. catching little bits of me going, rah. Okay, I can scroll now. Last time you said hi, maybe the time changed, blah, 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 hour early. That's why I've been late. Race Gen X. Gen X made us. You know what I mean? Boomers. Oh, and you lived with your grandma for a while. Okay, that's cool. Oh, you lived with your grandma for a while after your parents' divorce. Got it. See, I knew there was something. And mom said I work have been lost without them help with you. Okay, that's just typing. That's just my mom does not speak like that. Don't worry. Um, Yeah, she would have been lost without my grandparents helping. And I appreciate that too. I mean, there was like no under, divorce is like this really traumatic thing on the kids. I didn't experience any of that. I didn't feel abandoned. I didn't, you know, I I don't even know if they used the word divorce around me. That might have been something that like you didn't say that word. Um, I just knew that I got to see my dad occasionally, and I had my grandparents, I had my mom, I had my Uncle John, and that was our family unit, and it worked for me, and I was fine with that. Um, oh, and you loved living with your grandparents, exactly, same thing. Um, Me either, Maven. Yeah, yeah. So we were both lucky in that aspect, and so credit goes to my mom for, you know, I'm sure that you probably could have tried to be like stubborn and have pride and not go back to your parents and all of this, but you did, and you didn't let that stop you from thinking of my best interests. And then she says that I did a lot with my grandparents since she worked. Yeah. So my grandma would take me. I mean, I should probably put this in somewhere because it was definitely during this age. Or maybe there's someplace else that's like amusement parks and stuff, like things to do, camping and everything. I'll put it there. But the beach. She took me to Santa Cruz. We'd go to Sea Cliff, um, Capitola, all of the, we'd go to the beach and we'd go camping and we'd go to the redwoods, and she'd take me to San Francisco to the Exploratorium. She'd drive me to my Aunt Susie. That was Mama Kitty, by the way, the calico. Um, if I was gonna go visit my Aunt Susie, I don't know, maybe sometimes it was just day trips, and maybe sometimes she was taking me up there for like a week to stay for a week. And then my mom would come back and pick me up or whatever. But sometimes my grandma would drive me there, and because they just live north of San Francisco. And so yeah, I did a lot. The Rosicrucian Museum in San Jose. Uh, in San Jose, I don't know, like when it freezes, I think my audio also freezes. Um, and I know with like Masons, Illuminati, elites, all this kind of stuff, Rosicrucians are up there on that list, but their museum was cool. you know. Um, and Chalet says, I just wanted my mommy, and it was great living with grandma and grandpa. There you go. Yep. That's cool. And that would have been in the Midwest, Iowa or something. Indiana, Iowa, Minnesota. I don't know. With an I think. But I don't, whatever you want to share. So I just say Midwest. I also informed your grandparents to say nothing bad about your dad, and they respected your decision. Yeah, my mom was great about that too. Where, um, I mean, I think I found out when I was older that he didn't really actually. He wasn't the one that called me for my birthday. She would call him and tell him, okay, it's her birthday. Tell her happy birthday. She's here waiting for you to say happy birthday. Um, Okay. It was that I was talking to my dad on the phone. He was wishing me happy birthday or Merry Christmas or whatever. Sorry, Dad. Oops. My poor computer. I need to get so I got my own computer, and when I bought it, they said I needed I needed a I needed an SSD card installed, and in order for it to run faster and smoother. And I was like, nah, I don't think I really need that. If it just takes, because I was like, well, what does it do? It makes it run faster. Well, they're Cambodian, and maybe they could explain more in Khmer, but with limited English, that's just the simplest thing to say. And but yeah, I should have got it. And so now I have to like take it back either there or someplace else. They said it would be like $50 to $100. So just gotta wait. Just gotta wait. Chalet says it's usually the stepmother that tells them what to do when the dad remarries. Yeah, yeah, because they keep them in line. Both your parents, both your parents remarried rather quickly, and you had a great stepmom and dad. Okay, great. That's good. Not dead. Oh, yeah, I knew you meant dad. I'm pretty good at typos, figuring out typos. Mm. I hope it wasn't pausing like this all the time while I was reading. That would have been a bummer. That went down the wrong way a little bit. Okay. I don't think drinking more is going to help that. Ah. But yeah, with my grandmother, she'd also like give me tasks to do, chores and stuff. Like the front lawn would get dandelions, and she'd give me a penny for each dandelion that I dug up. And she taught me how to like not just pick the flower or pick the leaves, but I had to get the root out. And I think she gave me a little tool, kind of like a screwdriver, but with like a little prong on it. I had to dig that in there and pop it out, make sure the root came out with it. I get it, and then I'd put them all in a bag. And then when I was done, I couldn't find any more on the lawn. She'd count them out and give me and pay me 1 penny per dandelion. Oh, you don't see pausing. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, she was smart. She was real smart. Of course, she read to me, as I mentioned. And you saw some pictures that included that log that was on the hearth, which now I have. Well, it's not here, it's downstairs, but you look through the house tour, I show you the log, and then there was a picture in the travel vlog of California that shows the log. And I'd sit on that, and oh, I could just spend it seemed like hours just staring at the flames and the way they dance. And she had this powder stuff which had different, not chemicals, but minerals, I guess. And you'd sprinkle that over the logs and over the fire, and then it would be a rainbow. All the flames, there would be green and blue and red and all the, because it's probably the same kind of stuff they put in fireworks. I mean, not the boom part of fireworks, but the stuff they put in to make the color, so you got white ones and blue ones and green ones and yellow ones. Sometimes it's only your face that's frozen, but you can still hear the top. Oh, okay. Because yeah, then I shut up, because when I see it freeze, I think you guys can't hear me, so I just sit here and wait until it starts moving again, and I start talking again. Win-win. We like win-win. Gurmy was the best. Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't have asked for a better grandma than my Gurmy. And my mom was really close to her, was her caregiver in the end. And in fact, I don't know, I might have said it before, that when I moved here to Cambodia 16 years ago, I was finally ready. I finally had some money and everything, because I visited Cambodia. I went back to California for a year to work and try to make money, but most of the money I was making was like for living. I wasn't able to save much, but I finally got to the point that I could get back to Cambodia and move. And my mom was like, you need to wait a couple more weeks, because it was getting toward the end. And I'm like, but grandma loved me. Grandma knows me. Grandma knows this is my new life. She's totally supportive of it. When she's gone, it's not going to bother her, And my mom said to me, but I need you. I was like, okay, I'll stay. So I stayed. And I came in the end of April after she passed away. Poor mom's probably crying hearing me talk about that. At least nobody can see you crying. It's okay. And then that was an experience going through all the like after death stuff, all the funeral stuff. I wrote because I'm a writer. The family asked me to write the obituary, which I did. They also asked me to give the eulogy, which I did. And because I don't mind, I don't mind speaking either. I think I did a good job on both of those. But yeah, lots of good memories. There was a holiday in Milpitas called Frontier Days. And so I'm going to keep talking. Now that you guys tell me, I'm going to keep talking. Just about, it was hard losing you both. Oh, yeah. I guess from your perspective, you were losing me too. You lost Gurmi and then you lost me because I moved to Cambodia. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I love you. But it was time for me to start a new life, because I'd had a rough young adult life, with my first husband and with my kids, and then I went back to school. Then I tried to make it in LA and everything, and stuff. Anyway, it was rough from my 20s to, by then I was in my 30s. I was 40. I was just turning 40. I think I just turned 40 or whatever, because I was born in 66 and it was 2007. So 2006, I must have turned 40, but it was before my 41st birthday. So I was still 40 when I moved here. And no, it was time for me to like make a new life for myself, and which was great decision. You did what you needed to do. I love you no matter where you are. Yes, thank you. But I was going to tell Frontier Days. So I love Frontier Days. And it was just a local Milpitas holiday, and it was kind of like cowboy western kind of themed. And my grandfather, Gurmi's husband, my Gurmpi, he was stationed because he was like lifelong army. He was a master sergeant in the army, and when he was stationed in St. Louis, he would go to the Budweiser not a distillery, a brewery, and because you got to realize, when he met my grandmother, we're talking before World War II, he was what was called a mule skinner. And that doesn't mean you skin mules. That means you, like your stable hand, you take, so like you're assigned, the mules for pulling wagons and pulling cannons and stuff, because it wasn't all like by cars and tanks and things like that yet. I mean, of course you had those, but you still used horses and mules. and so he had that background. And so when he went to St. Louis and the Budweiser, with all the Clydesdales, he would hang out with the guys, and he would quite frequently steer. No, what do you call when you're on top of the stagecoach and driving, right? I guess it's driving. As long as I'm happy. Thank you. I am. You didn't know that. There's a festival like nowadays. Yeah, like every city has a festival. Well, they had a Frontiers Day. So the parade at Frontier Days would have the Budweiser Clydesdales come. And they would always let my grandpa, my Gurmpi, he sit up there and drive the Clydesdales. I don't know. I mean, maybe they actually remembered him from maybe because they're stationed in St. Louis, and then they go out to all these different places to be in different parades. And so I don't know, Mom, you could tell me if he was just legendary, and even if they didn't know him in St. Louis, they still knew him enough that they knew of him and they let him drive the Clydesdales. Um, or if they were actually people that he knew. I don't know. And oh, you mean you didn't know about the mule skinner? That he was a mule skinner? Yeah. I don't know. Because I'm the one that does the genealogy stuff. so yeah. And anyway, so that was always cool that my grandpa, my Germpy, was the one, so I'd always wave to him in the parade and couldn't wait for him for the Clydesdales to come for their turn through the parade. That's a good memory. I think we also celebrated Columbus Day. I think there was a parade on Columbus Day too. It was a pretty big deal. And it's like now they don't even want to have I didn't the US end Columbus Day? Right. She said right. So yeah. Yes. I don't know who told me that, if it was grandma that told me, or it was on a picture, or looking at his service record or something. I don't know. I was just looking for some pictures for something. And I was actually trying to find the folder of that I used not on Snarky Day when we were doing Snarky. Probably should just look at the Snarky video, and if I shared the whole screen, then maybe I could see what folder it was in. Duh, why didn't I think of that? As I searched everywhere, and I see all these different folders of different photo combinations, and none of them I don't think were the one that I used, because there was one particular snarky picture I was trying to find. I couldn't find it anywhere. And but while I saw a picture of my grandpa in Marseille, France, because that's where they went. He just went at the end of the war, though, in the last, at the same time as the Battle of the Bulge, but that was up in north of where he was. He wasn't actually in the Battle of the Bulge fighting, but he was in the south, Strasbourg or something like that, some city that's on there's a river that goes in the middle between France and Germany, and begins with an S, but there's Stuttgart and Strasbourg and stuff. I don't remember which one it is. And he was down there. And Mom, I don't know. I think I sent you some screenshots or something. I found somebody my age took his grandfather, or maybe he was older than me, took his father to France and to remember this campaign, and where my grandfather, I'm sorry, was a master sergeant. This guy was lower ranking, but he was part of the company. He was in the same company. I think I came across it because I just Google searched, 45th Battalion, whatever, right? Whatever it is that's my grandfather's. I put that in Google search, and this came up. And so they had pictures. They had the guy describing all his memories and everything. So it really gave me a sense of maybe what when it was cold, what it was like trying to get across the river, and all of this. It was very interesting. Also took the time to talk to him about his past, and I recorded it. I know. I got to find out what that is. Grumpy never talked to us about his work, so I know more. Yeah. Well, that's why I was saying I'm pretty sure that there was a bar that was over by Bay Meadows. There's a racetrack in the Bay Area, or at least there was. It was called Bay Meadows, and I think right. It was a Bay. I'm not confusing Los Angeles. There was a racetrack on just south of San Francisco. I think it was called Bay Meadows, and there was a bar that all the jockeys and everybody would hang out, and he would go there on Wednesday nights or something and cook his goulash. And that's why I thought that bar stool might have been from there, but you're telling me it's from Shakey's and you're 100% sure. So, okay. Yeah. So I know more. Yeah, he was really proud of his goulash being able. It was basically just macaroni noodles with spaghetti sauce and cheese and onions and stuff like that. So instead of having a spaghetti night, you're using macaroni. Yep. Big chunks, not just like spaghetti sauce, but big chunks of. There were always chunks of tomato in it as well. Chunks of onion, tomato. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, if somebody wants to bring up some primary school education memories, please do. But until then, I guess it's Grumpy night. And so when I did this record, so I interviewed him, and I'm not sure if it was on audio cassette or if it was with a video camera. But everything I'd ask, what I remember the most is everything I asked him kept coming back to baseball. And for example, I was like, "Oh, do you remember Franklin Roosevelt when that he said the day that will live in infamy, the famous speech and stuff?" He goes, "Oh yeah, Franklin Roosevelt. We went to the baseball, and he asked me a question, and so I was in the middle of answering him, and somebody high ranking came over, or like a messenger person, whatever, came over and to give him a message, and he told them they had to wait until I finished talking, and so I've always respected him because that's what he did, and I'm like, what? What? and, and so apparently after the war, one of his, I'm thinking this is at like maybe the 50s or the late 40s, because the war was 41 to 45 ish. No, wait, did he die? Did Franklin die before? Wasn't it? Didn't like Eisenhower or Truman or Wilson or didn't somebody else have to say? So maybe this was before World War II. I don't know. And he was the escort. So because they didn't have Secret Service back then, right? Now we have Secret Service. I Google, when did the Secret Service start? I don't think it had started yet. And so the president, when he went out, would have military assigned to protecting him. But it wasn't so much as a protecting as it was an escort. So my grandfather was the escort for Franklin Roosevelt to go watch baseball games. Yes, it was Bay Meadows. Okay, good. I got that right. And it was in San Mateo. All right. And he did work at a bar in downtown San Mateo. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, good. Thank you. So another like thing that got thrown back to baseball. So I was saying, oh, well, if he likes baseball, well, I thought, oh, what about Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe? And I said, well, what'd you think about Joe DiMaggio? Oh, he was nothing but a playboy. He did. It's just like almost sounding like as if he knew him, and it's just like, he wasn't serious. He was nothing. He was just a playboy, wanted to party all the time. I mean, I'm sure he didn't say party, but That was the impression. I know, crazy, crazy things that you learn. But the thing that he would not talk about is like he had a bronze star, and I tried to get him to tell me what happened that he got the bronze star for. And he said, I didn't do anything special. I didn't do nothing. They were just handing them out to everybody. And that was it. He wouldn't say anything else. And I think a lot of World War II veterans were like that. They went overseas to do their job, to keep the war from spreading to American soil so that their families would be safe. They went over there, they did their job, they came back, they didn't talk about it. And so rather than having PTSD and post traumatic stress syndrome and all this kind of stuff, they just put it in a box and threw away the key, and lived the peace and the life that they were fighting for when they got back. For that generation, which is really interesting that we call them the silent generation, right? They didn't talk about about a lot of stuff the way we're so open and talk about everything. Speaking of being open and talking about everything, one of the things I was thinking might be interesting is because I was like, well, what am I gonna do when we're done reading the book? I thought, I could I've got my old diaries, I think people today would have, like the young generation today, the idea of writing things in a book that's got a lock and a key so that nobody else could read it. Can you imagine the cognitive dissonance with that concept? Well, why wouldn't you want anyone to read? They share everything. Their whole, if their life isn't being recorded on their social media, then it didn't happen. So I thought it might be interesting to look at, even just to show the old diary. Look, there's a lock and a key. Well, I don't have the key anymore, but they still have the lock on it. I know. I think I wrote some things like, "Oh, I saw the Bay City Rollers. Oh, we went and saw the Jackson 5." Just little things like that. Could be interesting. Well, we're coming up on 10 o'clock at night for me. I'm wide awake and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed if we want to keep going, or, I hope Lemoyne's all right. He posted, he uploaded something today, scrapbooks and a diary you have. Well, you should share some of that, Chalet. We should plan a morning for you when you're not going to be babysitting, and you come up and be my guest, and you can share that stuff with everybody. You can pick and choose ahead of time, like this stuff. But I do notice you've been sharing a lot of your pictures as community posts, and I've been liking them. Yeah, a lot of great pictures. It takes too much time away from their phones. Yeah, to actually write. Who wants to write? You got to learn. You got to know how to type and how to thumb. I've seen people do it with two thumbs. I don't do that. What do? I go I go like that with one finger. But back from the BlackBerry days, they're fast. People that know how to do that. It's like stenographers, like court recorders. They got their own little muscle memory going on beyond me. But I really like I liked one of Patricia Cornwell's novels. I'd like to read it again. And that was about not the Scarpetta series, but a different one, and which is the Captain Chase series. And the first book, to be honest, was a little bit boring. It was like way too technical, and just like I was just like, whoa, what, But the second one was better, and there was a lot of, well, she gets the main character, get Captain Chase, uh gets kidnapped, whatever, right? And it's kind of like, when they kidnap you, and then they take out your kidney. Only instead of taking out a kidney, they put in all of this transhuman transhumanism trans is that, or is that just an ideal? What is it, transhumanist? What is it when they put all the technology inside of you? That's why I think Elon Musk has it already, because like when he's been on interviews and stuff, it's like because like they gave her, you know how you can get like a cornea replacement or something. Oh, this is Mama Katie, Mama Katie. Um, right? Don't they do that? Like the lens of your eye, they can do surgery and actually put a new lens on, not contacts, not just taking off a cataract or something, but like actually put a new lens on. And so then they install. Oops. Okay, I don't know if you say you can still hear me talking. Okay, they put the AI, so like it's like a computer screen in her eye. So everywhere she's like looking or something, then she's got all this data going in front of her eyes. Of course, she could see through it. I guess kind of like an augmented reality kind of thing as well. And they implanted something in her ear, so it's like Alexa, this and that, whatever. The AI thing is like talking to her, and she had to get used to it because she'd say something, like, why is it so dark out, or whatever, right? And it's dark out because the sun is on the other side of the earth and the earth rotates, or what, I mean, it would like, and it's like all this information, and where's this information coming from, right? And she's going through that. And so it was real. I found that fascinating because one thing about Patricia Cornwell is she researches everything. So that means this technology, everything that she's writing in that already exists. It's just not been implemented yet. So it's going to go from the phone, from the phone to the wrist to being implanted, you know. And so that's weird. I think having something put in my body like that, I just leave me old school. I think I'll be all right. Mama Kitty, Mama Kitty. Mama Kitty won't leave me alone. She wants some attention. They know where your focus, where your energy is focused, you know. And they want to be right in the middle of it. They want that focused energy to be targeted at them. So maybe that's a sign that I need to get going. And so if you missed the chapter in the beginning when I'm reading about my school memories, then just hit the replay. And the book was too technical for you. Good story. Yeah, it was. It was in the first one. Like I said, even I had a hard time getting through the first one. But one of the things that was really funny as well is she'd make up these acronyms of this agency or that agency. Like, you have the CIA, the FBI, whatever. And so they'd, NASA and things. But so she'd make these imaginary agencies, and the acronyms were like they were like so stupid they were funny, right? Thanksgiving. Yes. Yes. Oh yeah, Thanksgiving probably be done by 9 o'clock my time, right? So 9 o'clock p.m. So I could probably still do a travel vlog next week. I went to we have a store called Macro, which is like Costco, um, and I got like about 10 or 12 potatoes, and I got like 6 or 7 carrots, and I got 5 or 6 onions, and I already previously bought like this big thing of butter. So it's like a log of butter that's like really big, because there's so many things that need butter. Um, so that's in my refrigerator. What else did I get? I don't think I've gotten cranberry sauce yet. I have the Durkee's French onions. The green beans I'll get fresh. So it's kind of the roots, I got a big bag of tomatoes too. Um, yeah, set me back about $60 what I spent. And but I got some other household things too, you know. Um, but yeah, so I'm getting ready. I've told Srei Mao to be ready. I told her the 23rd is Turkey Day. No turkey, not yet. They didn't have any. I asked. I was planning on getting the turkey. But actually it was probably best because they don't accept credit cards there. I didn't realize I had, but they had an ATM, so I had to run over to the ATM and get cash out so that I could pay. Um so that was an adventure. So yeah, so probably Friday I'll go get the turkey. That should be long enough for it to thaw out in the refrigerator. That's like 6 days. 6 days in the refrigerator should be fine. I like honeyback turkeys. I only know about like the honey hams. Oh, but yeah, you like honey ham. Oh, you weren't asking if or were you saying like you didn't get a turkey, or were you saying that you're not going to have turkey because you like ham? Well, I know you like ham better than turkey, especially those spiral cut honey baked hams. Those are good stuff. But yeah, so um, I'll go get my turkey on Friday, and then some fresh vegetables like 2 days before. So like on Tuesday of next week, I'll get all the green beans and get some bread for the stuffing. And they had a lot of the like yams and sweet potatoes, but here in Cambodia, they've got like this dark purple root that's like white on the inside. I don't know if it's taro or what it is, but it's not the yellow orange ones. But they have the yellow orange ones. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So I'm gonna send Srem out to get the right ones. She'll get the right one. I'll show her a picture of the orange color, and she'll go get the right ones. And I already have marshmallows. I was looking at the sugar. Do I need more sugar? I think I have enough sugar, or whatever needs sugar. Food, glorious food. I had to look that up to see which movie. I thought maybe it was Annie. Like, so, like she's gets adopted and there's all this food and she's singing that, and then it's from Oliver. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. No, we have our turkey already, and the ham was too high this year. $90 for 5-pound ham. Oh my goodness. Well, the turkey's here, and it's like they have Foster Farm, they have Norbest. Like they've got they must be imported from America, and they got the little pop out temperature thing, and one was 59, one was 61, so they're right about $60 for a big turkey. At least what I think of as big. I know the last time I was in America, which would have been like 12 years ago, it's just like all the portions and everything is like so big. Even like at KFC, like we have a KFC had just opened here, but I think they were using more local chickens that don't have all the steroids and things like that. So you get a chicken breast and like, okay, here's a normal cell phone, right? It's like half the size, half the size of the cell phone is the size of a chicken breast. And then I went to visit, and my mom and we went to KFC and got a chicken breast, and it was humongous. It was like turkey size. It's crazy. Crazy. How much have you checked out the prices of turkeys in Florida? Chalet? Yeah. Did Talon show up? Should I say hi, Talon? How are you, Talon? You want to see the kitty, Talon? Look it. Here's the kitty. Hi, Mama Kitty. Say hello, Mama Kitty. Hello. All right. Well, I think we've moved out of GenX. And so Lemoyne, if you're watching this on replay, please leave a comment about let us know you're okay. You know, you don't have to tell us exactly what you were doing. He might have he said he was going to do some re-editing of some of his other videos. And oh, Michael Collins, there are wild turkeys in the canyon near your house. You can't kill them, they're protected. Wow, that is so cool. Wow, it's great to see you. Yeah, we're just wrapping up, you know. Um, but yeah, and there are not wild but domestic turkeys here in Cambodia that some people have turkeys. And um yeah. Oh, and Michael, you should I don't know if you watched the travel vlog I did last week, but the travel vlog for California, there is a picture of you and your beloved in like in a green costume thing, all dressed up. It was really nice. I threw that in there. So feel free to go and watch a replay of the travel vlog for California. Starting earlier now, I usually start at 7 a.m. my time because of daylight savings time. So I'm starting at the same time because I'm not going to move it to 10 p.m. So yeah, it's 6 a.m. on the West Coast now. Yeah, sorry. Not sorry. Was that a Gen Z thing or a millennial thing? You know, how long has that been going around? It's got to be from some like Simpsons or South Park or something like that. Family Guy. I don't know. Sorry, not sorry. Who started that? I'll have to look and see if I can find out. I have grapes. I'm so happy. Normally, so I've actually eaten a lot of them already. Right? So not half. I haven't eaten half. So all these grapes, but normally this much grapes would be $6. So as many grapes would be $6, and it was like $3.50. So that was good. It's a song. Sorry Not Sorry was in a song. Ah, thank you. And so how long ago? How 5 years, 10 years? How long has it been going around? Yeah, these are good. They're seedless grapes. When I first came to Cambodia, there were no seedless grapes. They all had seeds in them. And I realized how spoiled I'd gotten to eat grapes with no seeds in them. Because I don't even think they sell grapes with seeds in the US anymore. Or watermelon. Do they still sell? I think the only reason they would sell watermelon with seeds is so people can have seed spitting contests. Otherwise, they wouldn't. The grapes look good. Yeah. Here's another one. And then I have those like Hostess donuts. It's kind of part of my regular budget. So every week I get one of those bags of the chocolate covered Hostess donuts. So they're those little mini chocolate donuts in a bag by Hostess. And I'll have like 2 or 3 of them with some milk before I go to bed. That's my thing. So I shouldn't eat too many grapes. I might spoil my appetite for my donuts. It was a Demi Lovato song. Aha. Sorry, not sorry. So I'm just trying to calculate if that might be more millennial than Gen Z. I don't know. How old are the Gen Zs are like what, 25? Up to 25? Because what's the oldest millennial right now, or the youngest Gen X? Because I was at the cusp. So I was born in 66. I think it was 64 when they started Gen X. So like 64 to 84, like 20 years ish. And then so all my kids are millennials. So it was 84 to 04. And so what is like 04 or 05? How old would they be? 15, 2015 would be 10. Oh no, so they're still like what, teenagers, the Gen Zs? Just barely 20? I've been trying to do math. Oh, which as we were talking about in the thing, I was like this, I was so advanced in math. And then that 5th grade teacher, I rebelled so bad that I haven't been good at math ever since. I lost it all. So, whatever. But yeah, if you were born in 2000, 84, 94, 04, and even 04 to 4. So if I was born in 04, then I'd be 10 in 2014, and I'd be 20 in 2024. I'd just be 20. So they're just coming up on. So the Gen Z are teens and just starting to graduate and look for jobs and stuff. Okay. So it's the millennials then that probably, unless they started saying it as teenagers. All right. It's probably time to end, especially if someone says, ciao. Yeah. I gotta go. Bye. I love you. Love you. Love you. Love you so much. Love to you transcends time and space wherever you are, whenever you are watching this. My love goes out to you. And so Andy, Mabel, and Lemoyne, let me know in the comments that you guys are okay. And I will see you next time. Rebelled at 9th grade algebra. Yeah, freshman year of high school, 9th grade. Exactly. I got an F because I cut school because I had a boyfriend. You remember Mike Campbell, mom, right? He worked at Chuck E. Cheese. And so I would go to Chuck E. Cheese for lunch. He'd give me free pizza or whatever. And I wouldn't get it because algebra was right after lunch. So I'd get back late. And so I just miss algebra. Okay. Love you. Free pizza. Grapes.